Hey there, it's Marlon from MarlonMcPherson.com, and today I'm going to be talking about 6 things you need to know before creating a business website. Hopefully this is going to help you out if you're going to be creating your own website for your business, whether you're working with someone or you're doing it yourself. I've created quite a few websites now for myself and for clients, so there are some common things that I see, misconceptions that I see that happens, that I want to basically go through and bring to your attention and point you in the right direction in terms of what you should be focused on, because oftentimes focusing on the wrong thing can mean the difference between a successful website project and a successful online business and one that is not. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is the fact that you need to treat your website as a tool and not as the business itself. Let me repeat, treat your website as a tool and not as the business itself. What do I mean by this? Oftentimes people set up their website and they think this is going to be the end of it in terms of how their business is set up. They fail to actually put together a business plan and a process for their business. So therefore, they don't have any real way of making sure that people are coming to their website and transacting business in a way that's going to help them grow. So they end up in hiccups. Things don't work as it's supposed to because they haven't taken the time to map out their business processes and then translate that to their website. So what you need to do is basically work on your complete pipeline, from your customer acquisition to going all the way through your sales process to how you fulfill your service or your product. That way you can then build your website and select the right tools, the right systems for the website that's going to help you deliver on your business processes. So one of the best ways to do this is to make sure you do some kind of strategy up front. If you're working with a web designer, make sure you work with them with some strategy where you brainstorm and plan out a website based on your business processes. If you haven't got your business processes worked out yet in terms of how you're going to do all the things I mentioned, fulfill your services, to fulfill your services and your products, or to take people through, or your customers through whatever process to help them, then you need to work on that first before you can translate that into how your website is going to help you deliver those things. So make sure you pencil things down and work out the plan of action before you start building, because this is going to help you 10 times over deliver a more successful website that's going to work for your business, as opposed to one that's just sitting there gathering dust. Now, one of the things that is critical is to actually figure out what your goal is for your website. Now, if you're building a website for your business, chances are you're going to want to get sales coming through the website directly. You might want to transact live purchases on there, or you might just want to be getting leads coming through the website in terms of people contacting you, inquiring, or signing up for something for free on your website. So understand what your primary goal is before you go ahead and start building, because with a website you have a limited time to actually capture the attention of the visitors that come there. And if you have things all over the place and you're not focused around what you want them to do, people will just leave or not ending up converting on the site, because you don't really have a clear goal for what you want them to do. So make sure you actually have something that you prioritize. It doesn't mean that you can't focus on anything else on the site, but having the main goal figured out is going to help you prioritize what goal upfront on the website. As soon as someone hits the website, then they can dig deeper by going into other pages and browse through the site to find all the other things that you might have to offer them. The other thing that you need to be concerned about when it comes to setting up your website for your business is shiny object syndrome. Now, shiny object syndrome is just a phrase that references or refers to when people get easily distracted by things. So you might have something in place already, a plan to go forward with your website, but then you see this other thing over here and you think, oh, you know what, I want that on my website because it looks cool, or I want this thing in my website because I want to now make it work a certain way. But this doesn't necessarily mean that it's better. Sometimes it's better to stick with the things that are trusted and proven, and then you can test eventually and see what you could introduce based on what's working and what's not working once you've built your website. But keep focusing on the things that you've set out for, because one, it's going to save you time and energy, and it's going to keep the costs down for you as well, because your budget won't spiral out of control because you're now trying to add more and more things that you don't necessarily need at the point of trying to get things set up in the initial stages anyway for your first version of your website. Now, this is a big one. You have to know your users for the website. If you don't know who the users are for the website, you can't build an effective website to convert them and to deliver the experience that you need to do. Every business and every type of service or product is going to be geared towards a particular type of user, whether you want to acknowledge that or not. If you try to just shotgun everything to the widest possible market, you're not going to necessarily get the traction that you need. So narrowing things down and understanding your users will allow you to build out a website that's going to cater to their needs, that will be able to help them easily navigate the website, find what they want, and lead them down the direction or the path that you want for them to convert, whether this is to become the lead or to become a client or a customer. So make sure you do some sort of profile of what your ideal client or customer should look like, understand what their pain points are, what their needs are. This is going to then translate into what copy you put on the website and what call to actions you have on the website. And so you can actually help them in the best way possible and build up trust very quickly, because you're so specific about this type of person that they feel that connection immediately, and they're more likely to convert into a lead or into a sale. Branding is a big thing when it comes to the websites, and most people, they focus on the visual aspects of branding. They're thinking about having a logo and the coolest looking logo. They're thinking about fonts and colors and all of these things. Let me tell you this, none of that matters if you haven't figured out what your messaging is, what your overall approach is going to be, and the experience you're going to provide for the user. See the previous point that I talked about, knowing the user. Knowing them is one thing, but then applying that in terms of how you present your brand in the website itself. So ideally, you want to have your brand figured out before you actually come to do a website. So then you're just going to add that in as part of your whole ecosystem with your business setup online. Okay, but if you haven't got your brand figured out, you need to do that. You need to basically write what your messaging, your key messaging is going to be. You need to figure out all of these aspects before you come to doing a website. But know that a website doesn't necessarily need to have, you know, the fanciest logos or anything like that for it to work. The main thing is the user experience. There are lots of websites that operate without even a logo. You just have the website name or the business name written at the top of the site, and they perform very well, and they're very successful businesses. So don't get hung up on the visual branding of it. The messaging is the most important part, and that is the main part of branding as far as I'm concerned, because this is what's going to connect with your user. So make sure that's a part that you focus on, because that is critical to the success of any website. Marketing is the next big thing that you need to think about, because unfortunately there are people out there that just think that building a website is the end of it. Once the website is launched, then that's the end of the journey and now everything's going to be fine. No, that is actually the start of the journey. Having the website set up is going to give you the tool, give you the facility or facilities that you need to convert leads, convert sales. However, it needs fuel. You need to add traffic. You need to send people to the website. Sure, you might tell a few people about it and whatever, and you might get a handful of people visiting. However, you need quite a lot of traffic coming through to be able to test how things are working on your website, not just the actual functionality of the site, but the conversions of it. So the more people you can get to the site, the better. And there are multiple ways of doing this. You could do this organically by doing online content, which is what I'm doing right now. So you find this video or you listen to this as a podcast episode, or I put it on my social media. Then you end up watching this video and checking out my details and going to my website. That's the whole end game. So you can learn more and possibly purchase from me or become a lead. So If you have online content, that would be a great way to drive traffic to your website. But you can also use paid media such as Facebook ads or any of these other paid platforms that you can use, or even traditional types of advertising to send people to your website. It just comes down to the approach you prefer and the budget you have, because it can be quite expensive to do advertising, but it's less expensive to do online content, and it's a more natural way of building up trust and building up an audience. So that's what I focus on, but it's up to you. However you get traffic to the site, make sure you're focusing that traffic, or you're targeting your ideal customers, your ideal clients, and then you can basically have a system on the site to be able to convert them. So do not neglect the fact that you do need traffic, because otherwise you're going to have a website just there looking pretty, again gathering dust, and it's not going to do anything much for you if you're not able to successfully send traffic to that website. Now, when you have your website, one of the things that you do need to think about is security, because websites can be vulnerable to attack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a video up here that's going to talk about some ways that you can protect your website from hacking, and hopefully you won't have to experience that in the future, but it's best to be protected. So go ahead and check out that video right now.